Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to ARCHIDEX Fast Forward webinar series. My name is Lillian and I will be your MC for today. ARCHIDEX Fast Forward is a webinar series focused on the holistic perspective from the industry. Each session brings together collaboration from the industry with renowned architecture and building professionals sharing their experiences from various perspectives, including industry, business, and education to address current key issues and topics. Thank you for taking your time today to join us. We would like you to do a quick and short survey through the link which is now in the comment section to let us know how you think of the ARCHIDEX Fast Forward webinar series after this session. In this afternoon chat session, we gather around handpicked suppliers from ARCHIDEX Online to speak with a renowned architect, covering topics that revolves around new design and projects, industry challenges, trends along with star products and its application for every project sourcing need. With that, let me introduce the host and the panelists for today. We are delighted to have architect Mazrin Mohammad Noor today as our host. Architect Mazrin received his Bachelor of Architecture with Honours from University of Tasmania, Australia. He returned home in 1998 to work with a KL Paris-based firm and was involved in some notable projects in Putrajaya. He set up his own firm in 2004 and had won several design awards since then. Together with architect Mazrin, we have two panelists. Our first panelist is Mr. Savinder Singh, an engineer by profession and has worked in the oil and gas industry as a system engineer. He represents eTrend Marketing and he is passionate and hopes to contribute to Malaysia's IR 4.0 progress in the robotics and AIoT industry. Our second panelist is Mr. W.F. Look. Mr. Look is the Director of Business Development for IDS. Mr. Look has more than 25 years of working experience in solutions delivery, sales and marketing, and strategic alliances for Principal, and business partners and products management. With that, I'll now like to invite Architect Mazrin to join me on screen. Good afternoon, Ms. Architect Mazrin. How are you today?
Hi, good afternoon, Lillian. How are you? I'm good.
I'm good. I'm good. So over to you for your sessions.
Okay. Thanks for the introduction, Lillian, and thanks for having me. Today I'll be presenting our recently completed project. It's called the Chloe Hotel. It's a boutique hotel located in Bukit Bintang, KL. And before I run through my slides, let me just show a short video so that everyone can have a quick overview and feel of the project. Okay, the project started back in 2010, and that's when the client came to us and commissioned us to actually do a boutique hotel. And during that time, they wanted to do business travelers hotel. But over the years, due to the stretch of the project period, and looking at the change in travelers' trend, the travelers' demand and lifestyle, and so on, we sort of stepped away from doing another city hotel for business travelers. But we sort of, that was probably back around 2015 when we started looking into creating a hotel which we call it for creative travelers. And we wanted to offer a different kind of comfort to our hotel guests rather than the typical city hotel. Um, I mean, in some hotels in the city, because we saw so many of them during that time, around the 2015, 2016, we wanted to step away from doing another hotel, which usually has that sort of pristine and polished feel to it, and we wanted to do something that feels a bit more kind of homey, something a bit more humble, low key. And the whole planning is almost like taking a resort in a nice natural setting, but adapting it into the harsh environment of the KL city center. Um, Now, just to get our orientation, basically, this is where we are. We are not far away from some of the landmarks nearby. We have the Pavilion Bukit Bintang, which is about 400 meters away. We have the Prince Court Medical Center, and we are opposite of there's Yayasan Tun Razak and also LTAT building. So in terms of connectivity, being in Jalan Bukit Bintang, we have taxi stands, bus stands, and the MRT stations, which is one in Pavilion, and another one which is not far away down here is the TRX MRT station. So this is what it is now. Basically, this is the main road of Jalan Bukit Bintang. Now, the site is actually fairly small. In the end, we had to work within a lot size that measures about 0.42 acres. So it's not even half an acre lot. It used to be a one sort of acre lot, but apparently the story is the previous owner that owned a bungalow behind here before the client purchased the lot, he lost in a bet and somehow he had to give up this lot to another owner, which now becomes Shell station. So all he had was this very tiny and narrow access to his bungalow at the back. So we had to improvise this access. So now we have a one-way kind of entrance or ingress, and the egress is actually through a back lane, which is Jalan Jati at the back. The configuration of the building is kept to be very simple in order for us to optimize that small and narrow lot. But it was very important for us to keep the blocks fairly narrow so we could optimize the natural daylight and ventilation. What you see in the middle here is actually the central courtyard, which ties back the whole the three wings of the hotel. We also started off by making a lot of consideration in terms of its orientation, ensuring that we provide enough daylighting into the building while at the same time keeping it away from direct sunlight. So on the right side here, as you can see, is the shadow study. So it's quite a straightforward study to see how we could place internal spaces to optimize the context where it sits in. On the left side is actually a simple diagram that shows the program of the building. This is at grade level. Now, one of the important consideration that we had that we discussed in length with our client, and we made quite a number of studies, was to ensure that the lobby is actually at grade level. So in order to do that, we had to dig down for our 2 level of basement. It was costing the client a bit more, but what we wanted to do was to create a lobby where anyone from the street can just enter casually without having to go up to different floor, which most times you feel intimidated by, going up to a space where you feel a bit kind of exclusive only for guests, for the hotel guests. So what we wanted was to create a lobby which anyone on the street can just step in, just lounge in, have coffee, and so on. Above it is the first floor. This is where most of the recreational facility is. We have the swimming pool, the swimming pool deck. We have a multi-purpose hall which currently is being used as a yoga studio that opens up to the pool, and we have a restaurant on where Jalan Bukit Bintang is. From level 2 to level 6, we have the standard rooms, and which we call them as city rooms because they face out into the cities. And we also have the deluxe rooms, which we call them as courtyard rooms, as they open into the internal courtyard of the hotel. On the 7th floor is where we have 5 number of suites, which we specially designed with artists and influencers. So these are the 5 suites, which later on I will show you in my slides later on. And these are the more popular rooms as compared to the other rooms. They are specifically designed for 5 different themes. So with the studies that we had earlier, especially when it came to the context study, shadow study, we sort of derive into various architectural skin treatment. We look at a bit more sort of opaque walls facing the east and west of the site. And we have vertical fins for in front of the room, so that would still allow views out from the rooms, while at the same time it keeps the rooms shaded from direct sun. On the west, especially, we explored quite a number of design in order to ensure that we bring in enough light and ventilation. So it's a naturally ventilated corridor on the west side, which is where this is. And these are some of the studies to ensure that we have a good balance of light and ventilation in space. So this is the front facade. The facade is actually a simple composition of both order and chaos, which is a reflection of KL city itself. We also have the restaurant kind of perched up above the ground level. So that's about 6 meters high, and that was important for us also because we wanted that sort of presence to the front street of Jalan Bukit Bintang, since we are sort of kind of tucked behind the Shell station. So by doing so, we have the restaurants presented to the street. On the left and right here, you can see this is the east wall and the west wall. So we actually have a double skin sort of treatment here, where we have one wall with certain perforation to allow light into the staircase, while the staircase ensure that the internal walls where the rooms are kept away from direct sunlight. So that would in turn reduce and minimize the use of air conditioning in the building. Just the front facade, and as I mentioned, the restaurant being lifted out above the floor, and below here is where the porte cochere is, and that's where the main entrance to the building. The vertical louvers for the facade facing north and south. This is south facing, which we have views from the rooms looking into the TRX development and the tower itself. Again, the west facade with different sort of level of opaque and perforation, which we studied in detail to ensure that we have sufficient cross ventilation of air and sufficient light into the interior space. So this is the use of the vent block on the west facade. and to our surprise as well, the space is very comfortable. We were worried that it was going to be dark and stuffy, but it had a good balance of that natural light that penetrate and filtered through into this naturally ventilated corridors, and these are just the conventional ventilation concrete vent blocks that we can find in our market. And the good thing with them is they have a certain depth, and because of that, it sort of it gave that sort of protection from rain splash into this corridor. We were worried that this corridor was going to get wet during like heavy raining season, but apparently it worked quite well. So in the evening, so you get this kind of effect with the play of light and so on, and you get the breeze sort of flowing through. So the light changes and it moves around 4 to 7 o'clock depending on the time of the year. Another important sort of consideration that we put is to lift the entire guest room, which is this block here, to create a gap between the first floor and the second floor. So that allowed that natural ventilation to take place. And also we wanted to keep everything sort of focused into the main internal courtyard. So whenever you are on the corridors, you are able to orientate yourself. You can see the swimming pool. You can see the main entrance. You can even have a glimpse of the lobby below. And same vice versa to when you are in the lobby, you'll be able to see most parts of the building. And this is the our early sketches on how the whole vertical landscape was planned. Again, to have that connectivity between main entrance, the pool, and all the way up to the 7th floor of the hotel. This photo was taken just after our MCO 1.0 last year. So you can see the overgrown plants. They're growing quite well. And we work closely with the landscape to ensure that we could pick the right species for the right amount of light that we receive in this courtyard. So this is the internal courtyard. Again, like I said, all the spaces within the building is focused towards this internal courtyard that create its own sort of sanctuary, kind of away from the hustle bustle of the city. And all the plants actually, they are also a type of filtration against all the air and noise pollution from the surrounding area. This is another view from the pool deck, and over on the other side there, we can see the restaurant. So because the restaurant is open to outside guests as well, so because of the hotel policy as well, that would not allow outside guests to step into the swimming pool deck area, but we designed it so that they can still have a glimpse to, they can still have a view towards the swimming pool. Above that, you can see these corridors here. These are all open, naturally ventilated corridors. Another heavy design consideration that we had to put in due to the risk of getting too much sunlight or too much rain splash into the corridor space. And even we ourselves, as the architects, we had to go back and forth with the client to test out whether it was going to work or not. And we were worried that, what if it doesn't work? Can we have a backup plan to actually close this up? You never knew. Sometimes what you put on paper, it seems to work. And once you put up, then only you'll be able to understand how successful it is. And thank God, it works very well. We didn't have much issue with rain splashing into the corridor, partly because of this module of the planters that we have that create that certain depth. And you can see from up here, there's about 2.5 feet kind of depth that shaded the space from harsh direct light, and also protected it from a lot of rain splashing in. Now back 10 years ago, this is the bungalow that was sitting on the site before we decided to redevelop the site into what it is today. There was not much for us to salvage, although we wanted to keep as much as possible of the bungalow. But the one thing that really sort of caught my eyes during that time were the wooden beams, and that's because they were really good matured wooden beams or wooden rafters, and they are actually Chengal wood, which we took them down, we had them sorted, we stored them on a different site. And after those many years, we brought them to a sawmill and had them um, um, kind of cleaned up, spliced, and repurposed it into our main entrance statement. So that's what it is now today. So we're quite glad with that because it's something that was there on site, and we managed to actually repurpose it and actually put it back to where it belongs. So that entrance statement there with that repurposed wooden chengal is here, number one. So this is the entrance from Bukit Bintang. There's a sort of donut loop here to where the drop-off is. And from there, as you enter, you split into whether you go up to the restaurant or you enter into the lobby. Now, this is the view as you enter the front door. Again, as I mentioned earlier, the idea is to really create a really simple and humble space that's not intimidating, unlike other city hotel where, you know, sometimes you feel that you are out of place. But the design inside here is more like a very domesticated, it has a lot of home sort of feel to it with a timber floor and mix and match of furniture, and they are all locally made, locally fabricated by our furniture maker. Some that we design and some are actually mid-century inspired furniture. So from here you can see as well the reception is tucked away at the back so that, you know, anyone can just come in and just lounge without feeling intimidated by, you know, that usual hotel lobby feel that you have. Um, Again, this is that's the front door, and beyond there is actually the step up to the the restaurant at level one. Um, we really wanted to bring in a lot of light, so we had large glazing. We have windows that could open, and on this side here we have sliding door that you could open on a good day as well. And one of the central element in this space is this dining table here, which is a communal table, like a house dining table where people sit down together. And here, you know, we see people sitting down, chatting, doing work on their laptops and so on. So it's quite a nice space to sort of sit and chill. This doors here can open, so there's a courtyard just outside this table as well. The lights are designed by our local designer, Stephanie Ng, and these are made out of natural copper as well. So as you can see, most of our finishes are very simple, very honest. I mean, you can see the nature of the materials without hiding the beauty of the materials itself. Another two spaces just adjacent to the main living hall. We have a coffee bar, which is designed like like a home kind of kitchen pantry with a wooden countertop. And on the right side here, we have a sort of intermediate space leading towards the powder room. The furniture are designed by our local artisan as well, Oriole. This is a wicker sort of rattan weaving work by the Penan people in Sarawak. So that was done in Sarawak and flown to KL. And from there, you move on to the powder room. Again, we use a lot of terrazzo on the floor and on the countertop as well. And here is the female washroom. What you can't see here is actually a skylight above the WC cubicle. So we bring in a lot of natural lights to to balance and minimize the use of artificial light in most of our spaces. We'll move on to level one. Basically, this is the recreational level where we have the swimming pool, pool deck, lounge sort of corner, and this is the restaurant which is facing Jalan Bukit Bintang. Number six is a multi-purpose hall, which currently is being used as a yoga studio, and the space can open up right into the swimming pool. Again, the use of materials are kept to be very natural, to be honest, to reveal what they are naturally. At the end of the pool, there are these three arches that sort of frame the view from the swimming pool. Okay, so that terminates the view as well, rather than overlooking into an empty lot, which an empty car park is sitting next to our hotel. And that is the gap where we sort of design so that we have that natural breeze, that natural airflow that would, that promote that cross ventilation happening over the pool. And now these are the typical floors. We back in 2015, when we decided to move away from the city hotel, we look into redesigning the interior architecture. And in fact, the interior architecture was being designed as the project was under construction. And that's partly because as a hotel, they have to stay not with the trend, but in front of the trend. And if a project prolongs to be quite long, that's when you have to keep refining and revamping the design in order to be ahead of the trend. So it was only back in 2016 when we started to introduce these three brand colors, working with a collaborating branding agency as well. So it's a more it's a softer touch to the whole building, and it gives a good balance to that sort of hard masculine architecture of the building. So we started to bring in more refined finishes, at the same time keeping to the idea of honesty in the material. Now, this is a locally designed and made furniture, which we collaborated with Line Furniture. It's a work desk that we actually have in every one of the standard rooms. So instead of a normal bar that sits underneath the TV on the TV wall, every one of these rooms are given a sort of work desk or a writing desk. They are done in solid oak wood. The lights were specially designed with our collaborator as well, Stephanie Ng. We had them sort of designed, I think, back in 2017. And like I said, most of the materials are kept to be very very simple, very basic. You can see the copper. This is a copper rod. You can see the fabric. You can see the leather loop around that bed head. The bathroom is not a luxurious bathroom, but we managed to. I think one thing that's important is to bring in a lot of light into this bathroom. We kept it to look very clean, very streamlined. We work with a tile supplier as well to create this diagonal pattern tiles. So that took a while also to experiment to get the pattern out. And like I said, what's important is the use of a lot of this flip glass as well that brings in a lot of light into the bathroom. So during the day, we don't have to have that dependency to artificial light into in the bathroom. So you can use the bathroom without turning on the lights. Again, use of timber floor and a lot of natural materials in the room. And we also have smart system that controls the use of the aircon, the fresh air, and the lighting mode is also preset depending on the time of the day and how the room is being used by the occupant. Again, just close up of some of the elements in the room, solid timber furniture, and another lampshade designed by a local artisan as well. And we move on to the suites or the artist loft on the 7th floor. What you're seeing here is the bedrooms of 5 of the artist loft. So the bedrooms are designed quite typical for the 5 lofts, but this photo was taken before the final touch was done to the room, which the only difference is we had a few more sort of different ornaments depending on the theme of the rooms. And this is the wash basin area, again with a locally made furniture with a furniture maker. And these are the 5 artist loft, starting from what we call the room to read. We have room to grow, room to draw, room to taste, and room to listen. So every one of these is individually curated with artists, or for the case of room to taste, it was a celebrity chef. So they are actually to entice the hotel guests to experience what they are into. So it's actually a step away from the city lifestyle into their own sort of comfortable private space where they can just chill. This is room to read. So the room to read has a living space that is designed to have just a simple lounge reading chair. There's a good lighting for you to actually hold a book to read. And the room is curated together with Tinta Budi, with Nazir, who owns an independent bookstore in KL as well. So he handpicked the books to make sure that it has a good range of genre for different type of guests that check into this room. The furniture are locally made as well with a local furniture maker, and these are some of the refined sort of work that we introduce. And like I said, it gave a nice balance to the masculine architecture of the building. Another favorite room is called Room to Grow. We work with a few artisans here. We work with Ronnie Koo from Awesome, who does um, amazing plants, interior plants, terrariums, and so on. So in this room, basically, guests are offered to get their hands dirty and do their own potting and so on. We have a potting desk here. So this is done out of reclaimed timber. So there's an instruction prepared by Ronnie Koo as well, which they can sit down and do their own, get their hands dirty and do their own potting. And this is locally made as well. This is by Matisse Maison. It's a beautiful craftsmanship by our own indigenous orang asli. So she worked with them to bend this rattan, and uh, you can see it here. It's actually a real craft by itself. And after talking to her, I mean, you'll be able to appreciate how this sort of dying art needs to be preserved for the for our new architecture. Another one, which is my favorite room, is actually where you can sit and chill and listen to vinyl records. So we designed this together with a professional DJ Rudy Lefebvre. And we designed the console as well, and Rudy actually handpicked the vinyl records for this room. So what happens here is when a guest book this room, there will be a set of questionnaire, and one of the question is to understand what sort of genre of music, who is their favorite artist, and so on. And the hotel will take it from there. So they will actually make arrangement with the vinyl records so that the music fit the genre that they want. And in some cases, as they step into this room, they're gonna have the LP to playing their favorite song or their favorite artist as well. So that is the sort of length of what the hotel does in terms of creating a new type of hotel, which is very guest centric. Another room is called Room to Taste. Now, this was designed together with celebrity chef Sarah Benjamin. So, in the living space of this room, we have a 4-seater dining table. And as guests check in, they'll be offered with fresh produce, including loaf breads, some fresh vegetables, and Sarah has also prepared some menu to prepare your own, the guest's own sandwiches and cold cuts and so on. Earlier on, we had the idea of putting in ovens and microwaves, but because of the fire and safety issue, we had to scrap the idea. So now it's all it's just preparing quick sandwiches. Another room, this is working with local young artist Joey Chong. This is Room to Draw, which basically Joey actually curated this room with materials for anyone who likes to come and paint. They'll be given a canvas and a range of acrylic paint and so on, so that they can sit and do the painting. So these are just some of our earlier sketches of the furniture that we designed for the hotel. So it's such a great joy to be able to work with our local artisans, product designers, and some of the specialty contractors that were on board of this project. So I guess the success of this project is also due to that sort of good collaboration work with many many parties, many specialty artisans as well. And that's the end of my presentation. And having said that, with collaboration as well, the other set of people that we like to collaborate as architects are product suppliers as well, which would actually which is a very important part in finding our new direction in building technology and architecture as a whole. So with me today, I have two panelists. I have Mr. Sarvin from eTrend, and I also have Mr. Lok from IDS Media, who will be presenting to us with their state-of-art products. If I can call in our first panelist, Mr. Sarvin, can you join me on screen?
Hello.
Hi,
Hi.
Sarvin, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, Sarvin. Okay, the screen is all yours, Sarvin.
Firstly, thank you so much for your presentation, Architect Mazarin. That is a really beautiful hotel. I especially like the courtyard. So anyway, I'd like to, my name is Sarvin from eTrend. So just would like to share with you the current development in today's world. The COVID-19 pandemic has raised a lot of awareness on public cleanliness, and now they expect a higher frequency in cleaning. But how do we achieve this with the lack of reliable and shortage of workers, and how do we ensure the public's confidence? So today I'd like to show you that we have a solution to this problem by redefining cleaning by using autonomous cleaning robots. We are the exclusive distributor of autonomous cleaning robots for the commercial spaces, the first of its kind in Malaysia. So Miss Lillian, could you help me play the video now so that our audience has a better understanding of these cleaning robots? So those are our range of our cleaning robots. So back to you, Architect Mazarin.
Now I'll call our next panelist, which is Mr. Luke from IDS Media, to present to us what he has with a digital display meet. Mr. Luke, can you join us on screen?
Thank you, Architect Mashrin. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Lok, and I'm from IDS Beyond Media. We are a solution provider and also systems integrator for large format digital display systems. We also handle LED display, commercial display, digital signages for any environment, any industry and application. So if you are looking for a screen or digital display or how to get the project started, you feel free to get in touch with us. We will work with you closely to get your project started. All right, back to you, Architect Masrin.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Lok. Now we're going to start our Q&A session. I think we'll bring in Mr. Sarvin again onto the screen. Okay, Sarvin, you're back. Okay, audience, if you have any question, maybe you can type in to us. Now, let me start with Sarvin. As you mentioned earlier about the current pandemic, which we are in the pandemic era, and hopefully we move on to the post-pandemic era. You know, how does your product would actually positively contribute?
Okay, yes. So as it is right now, there are a lot of people, they are too worried to go out. Is this place clean? Is that place clean? They expect a much higher frequency in cleaning. And also recently with a lot of COVID-19 restrictions, whereby we are having a major lack of foreign workers. We are not able to get foreign workers anymore. So it's basically, you want the place to be clean, you don't have workers, and sadly our local Malaysians do not want to get involved in the cleaning industry. So with these autonomous robots, not only you do not need a worker, but also because it's a very consistent performance, whereby you just set it to run and off it goes to do its cleaning tasks. And also it provides a sense of transparency because it provides reporting as well, so you are assured that the place has been cleaned. So that would be my answer. So
Yeah. Okay. But again, Sarvin, I think it's the common thing with a lot of client and consumer. You know, when it comes to robot, a lot of people are not so familiar with the technology, so they're always worried with how do we maintain this? Do we need regular maintenance? Do we have the parts ready in case of downtime and so on? So, how do you deal with this?
okay, so yes, our typical maintenance will be for the consumables, whereby it's parts where you need to change on a regular basis, parts such as filters, brush, and squeegees. So for those items, yes, we have ready stock. So also because we as the sole distributor here in Malaysia, we don't only provide the sales, we do the service and also the maintenance. So coming back to the maintenance, the general maintenance would be for the cleaning of the water tank. And also we have a ready team here in Malaysia. We have a team in Johor, we have a team in KL. Soon we'll be also having a team in Penang. And not only that, not only that we have a team here in Malaysia, we also have constant support from our principal in China and our counterparts in Singapore. And just to highlight here that our longest serving cleaning robot, which is in operation in Changi Airport, which is more than 3 years already, there's not been any issues so far. But nonetheless, parts are ever ready.
Okay, that's good to hear. My next question to Sarvin again. Again, for us as architects, as product specifiers, you know, and especially when we design our building, the floor is actually one of the biggest surface that we need to, you know, consider about how to clean and maintain them. And in a lot of cases, we resorted to using easy maintenance kind of finish tiles, for example, just because they're easy to maintain, and a lot of people are scared to use like what we put in our hotel when we propose to use those timber floor. When we talked to hoteliers and some hotel management consultant, they were so against that sort of idea because they think that it's not going to be able to maintain. People are going to spill things. People would not know how to clean it. They put on the wrong chemical, the wrong detergent onto it that will shorten the lifespan of the floor. So with your robot, how do you address this issue?
So, okay, just to share with you that we have a wide range of cleaning robots for different kinds of applications and flooring. We can cover from hard flooring right up to carpets. So, and we also have different kind of settings for different types of floor cleanings from low to medium to high. It's not like one setting, one robot for all type of flooring. No. So of course, when we go into discussions with our clients, we will definitely assess the type of floor, and also we will provide a comprehensive solution, what type of setting, what type of exact cleaning robot that you would require for the flooring.
Okay, that's great. So, I mean, then again, that gives a lot more freedom for for us as architects to actually be more explorative of choosing flooring materials if you have that. Yeah. Okay, I'll move on to Mr. Lok. Yeah. Mr. Lok, you got such a. I've seen your product and I think they're really great. But can you explain a bit how long have you been in the country and what are usually the common sort of issues that you face?
Okay, we have been around for more than 10 years already. We have undertaken many projects. One of the challenges we face is obviously getting the client to start working with us early at the design stage so that we can get involved. We can contribute in terms of how they should be, for example, even putting up the structure, even designing the finishing, how the screen will integrate with the entire design so that it doesn't look like a saw thumb sticking out, digital display. So the
Mm,
screen has to be nicely integrated if it's a facade. So it has to blend in with the overall design of the entire building. And then having said that, we also need to understand the objective of the particular screen. Some would like to use it as a feature wall, so we have to ensure that they get creative content ready, design, one for the day, one for the night. If they want to monetize, then we'll advise them whether is there a suitable location for monetization, whether they could actually get people to run it and stuff like that. If not,
mm,
then we will find a suitable partner to work with the client to ensure success of the entire project, because it's going to be a huge investment putting a large screen. But then
mm,
again, designing and putting the whole thing from day one is very, very critical.
mm. Okay. Um, I think for me as an architect, as a designer as well, some of the main challenges that we face with this kind of tech product is because most of the parts are actually imported parts. I think that is inevitable anyway. So they do come from certain part of the world that somehow we always stumble into problem of having to deal with the long lead time and having to choose the product from catalog, but then by the time they arrive they're not exactly what we wanted, and then if we were to reject and redo the entire thing, it would cause delay to the project. It would be costly as well. And how do you deal with this? I'm sure you have better ways of of making sure that there's a good system of bringing in these imported products and to make sure that they are exactly what they are.
Okay, number one, we work with reputable supplier. That means the people that we have been working with, have been with us for many years, easily 8, 10 years working with
Mm,
us. So we are familiar with their organization, we are familiar with their processes. And the other part about LED is that every project is customized. So we will ensure that we have agreed on the bill of material. So we will specify the key components, such as the diodes and some of the IC has to be a certain brand. Then the manufacturer will produce as per the BOM that we specify or the bill of material that we specify. We normally conduct our own quality assurance. Once it is fully completed, we'll fly our guys there. But since now we cannot travel, we will request for a longer aging period whereby they test the product for at least 2 weeks before they pack and ship the LED to Malaysia. And then having done this for many years, we are pretty familiar with the process. We are pretty familiar with the lead time. We are also pretty familiar now with the shipping arrangement and stuff like that.
Okay. And what about the other parts of that has to do with I think the same thing with Sarvin as well. I think this is generally for a lot of imported products in terms of meeting our Malaysian stringent standard, SIRIM approval and so on. So how do you deal with this? Maybe Mr. Sarvin on your product?
Yes. So of course, prior to so at the moment now, not only our principal has done their own independent testing, we also on our side, when we bring in any of our products, we will basically send each and every different model to SIRIM for testing. So right now, actually, just to share with you, we are in the process of making arrangements with SIRIM to send our cleaning robots for testing, because we do not want to compromise on safety, and also we want to basically do everything properly, and to ensure the higher safety standards. Coming back to testing, also prior to these cleaning robots being shipped to Malaysia, our principal, upon manufacturing, they will test those cleaning robots. And when it comes to Malaysia, our team, our e-trend team, we also will be testing it prior to sending it to customer site. So we do not take, we definitely take safety and testing very seriously, because these products will be used in commercial spaces where there are a lot of people. So we do not want to compromise on anything.
I'm sure it's the same goes to Mr. Lok, yeah?
Yes, correct. Apart from SIRIM, we also have to make sure that our products at certain location are EMC compliant. That means, in other words, the product has to be certified as Class A compliance for EMC. This is a requirement by MCMC because of the electromagnetic signal generated, and it will interfere with some of the telco communication towers.
Okay. Okay, I think my next question to Mr. Lok. So, what would be next? How do you see this technology? What other application do you see in our built environment?
Well, I would foresee buildings. They will be incorporating LED display in the entire design, or rather the facade. So they will have an electronic or digital facade, both indoor and outdoor. So indoor, you can actually design things like, for example, a feature wall that you can really incorporate nice creative content running, and then create a lot of visual day and night for your clients.
And I'm sure as LEDs, these are naturally green products as well. Do you have a certain rating for your LEDs?
Well, essentially, LED is green product. It basically consume very low voltage. Okay, but you also have to consider the size. So we need to look at the environment. We also need to measure the brightness, and we need to tune the LED to the correct brightness so that it maintain the right level of electrical consumption.
Okay. And what about Sarvin? What's the future of your robots?
Okay, so our personal opinion is that as Malaysia progresses, with Industrial Revolution 4.0, we encourage more companies and industries to adapt to robotics and become pioneers and trendsetters in this field. Malaysia definitely needs to transition from relying on low value foreign workers to high value robot driven as soon as possible, which applies for manufacturing and services. And also, just to share with you, in the past decade alone, labor costs in Asia has increased by 10 to 15%.
Mm,
So, people might think that, oh, robots, they're expensive. I do not disagree that, yes, it is a high upfront cost,
mm,
but it has a low recurring cost
mm,
and it can work around the clock, produce more consistent work,
mm,
and they do not take, like annual leaves and MCs and don't
mm.
complain about working conditions.
Yes.
Uh, what we hope is that there will be more support from the government for the robotics industries in terms of grants and fundings and tax breaks.
Mm,
Our neighboring countries such as Singapore, they're already embracing robotics in their
mm,
daily
mm,
lives. So right now, we also need to advance Malaysia to the next level. Yes,
mm.
that
Yeah.
would be, yeah, my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, good point, Sarvin. So I think that's all the time that we have. We have to move on. So moving forward, I would really like to see more of your products in our city. It's nice chatting with you. And back to our MC Lillian.
Thank you so much, Architect Mazrin, Mr. Savin, and Mr. Look. That was really an awesome sharing, and the hotel was beautiful, Architect Mazrin.
Thank you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen in the audience, that's about all the time that we have. Thank you for your time today with us. We would now like you to do a quick and short survey through the link which is in the comment section to let us know what you think of the Architects Fast Forward webinar series. And of course, we hope to see you again in our webinar session soon. So thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, audience. See you soon. Stay safe and bye bye.